Testing, testing. All right, perfect. Sorry, I have to do that every time because a couple of times the videos came without actually any sound. And so I check every time in a way. Now, today's video, my peeps, is when being lectured unwillingly. And I write safe as a question mark, and then I go, what is this feeling? What's this feeling? Yeah, that is probably either my dad or one of my uncles, or yeah, probably. No, okay, so probably my sister and my brother as well. Because at one point the whole family came for an intervention. They didn't like the way I was, or at the very least, that's not what they said. What they said was, we wish for you to engage with us differently, especially since me and my other brother are not really like talking. It's not like there's anything wrong. There's nothing to talk about. Like, ultimately, I don't know what to respond. How are you doing? I'm good. You? I'm in. I actually respond with amazing these days. Good means adequate and acceptable. But anyways, so the question here is when being lectured unwillingly, because that's basically the this note is like when being lectured unwillingly. When you find yourself in a position and you're being lectured against your will. Like that's not why I'm here, or I don't want to be a part of this, or I don't like what you're talking about. Fair enough. All of these are generally kind of like a sign of us kind of like reacting towards the situation, which is an emotional response, which means we are something about it is making us, the best way to say it is moving us from comfort. The reason I say that is because that's basically when we become reactive or we respond in ways that probably are like not really filtered to the other people around us, because that's where arguments and discussions happen. And like that's when you kind of like, if you allow yourself to get emotional, eventually you're gonna go into a repetitive loop of kind of pointing things out or fighting for things. Like that's the end of the spectrum. But like the awareness that I'm being lectured unwillingly, that's basically what I got. I don't know how, I think I responded, but never in the best way, simply because, especially I think with people that are family, they have an image of you. And there's literally a whole lot of just kind of like mistakes you're gonna do expressing yourself now in a way that doesn't offend them, because for them your change is offensive. Every single time they kind of feel offended because they're family, they always kind of come back in a way. They come back to a certain discussion, or they come back to how are you, or they come back to come join us for dinner, right? Or come back like stop being this way, let's like get over it or something like this. There's always these kinds of things, and that's because they're family, and I guess friends as well. That's why sometimes you go like, no, I don't want to be this person's friend because like it just seems to be always drama. So I guess drama is the thing, because with pure communication, or at least with like attempts at communication, there's always a certain understanding. Like I didn't get you, I'm a bit upset, but fuck you, man. You're still a part of my life, and that's cool. We'll get over this. We'll figure this out. We'll move past it. So that's why I ask myself the question here: when being lectured unwillingly, safe, what is this feeling? And granted, the way I am reasoning with it right now is that for some reason, if I'm being lectured unwillingly, that means I'm kind of like not liking the direction of whatever topic that is happening, right? So it could be lectured about physics, it could be lectured about like uh, I'm more susceptible if somebody's lecturing me about music. Why? Because I want to take notes, I want to see where I mistake. The same with like code. Like I'm open to getting better at these things. I'm open to learning more of these things. But being lectured unwillingly, as in like you're being lectured for something that you're not really like, I don't know. I'm assuming like relationships. I'm assuming basically politics maybe, because like with these things, there's not really like, unless I'm taking a class, I'm not going to like be interested in it, right? Like I'm talking about politics. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter how good you are as a politician. I want to be lectured about my views in politics. I'd want to be like, if I ask a question, fuck yeah, but like, it's not a lecture kind of thing. I don't know if I'm deviating, but I'm really using like personal patterns in order to kind of split things for you. Because if you're interested in a subject, period, like any form of reprimand, even like, how did you do it this way? You're like, oh fuck, I fucked up, but I want to get better at this, so I don't care. This is not affecting me, right? Like you're more open to listening. But well, there's stuff, especially when it comes to like personal stuff on a level where individuals kind of like matter in how they see the world. It's like I don't want to be lectured by a guy that's, for example, like especially like hypocrisy, right? Some people lecture you about things because they couldn't do it. What the fuck do you know then? How can I trust your opinion is coming from somewhere or whatever you say has any point of relevance, right? And it's the same with kind of like I guess somebody lecturing you about something you did when they kind of like are not really any better. Maybe when somebody's lecturing you about communication and your mind is going like, yeah, these are the times where we could have done better in communication. I I probably tried, you didn't, or something like this. Like some things have to point you to like that resistance level. And that's basically how I think really the feeling is like just push from discomfort. Why does this matter? I think because I use the word safe, and now I'm a push from discomfort, and discomfort is because like I have a friend I always go to his house. I'm comfortable enough to sit in a specific place and in certain ways. I have another friend that I'm very like uncomfortable in his house, and it's not because of him. It's just because when I go there, I feel like I'm an outsider. I don't feel like part of the family. And I have another friend that I'm very comfortable in this place to a point where it's a restaurant. He has a restaurant. Like if I go there and they're doing something and they're closed for the day, it's like super random in the village. He could be like, Tariq, I love you, but fuck off. And I'd be like, all right, man, I'll come back later or something. Right? I comfort, comfort. So now I'm using discomfort is because normally, like, if something's happening against your will, the first thing that you're gonna feel is that I'm being pushed away from whatever I'm comfortable with in this situation. I'm being pushed away from it. And it's not that you're no longer comfortable. It's just like you're seeing something is off. And now you get to handle it. You can either be like, fuck this shit and go. It's not you handling it. Or you can either like fluster up and kind of lose your shits. Or like react basically to the situation. Or you can respond or find a way to kind of like weigh your options basically. Because like sometimes if I go to see family and after 20 minutes it becomes like, what the fuck are you guys doing? In my head, what I go like, and I go like, okay, I was planning to sit here for 3 hours. I'm just gonna sit for an hour. But at 20 minutes, this happened, so I'm gonna have to pulling through an hour becomes a necessity in order for me to sustain basically like any form of still relationship with them. If I leave after 20 minutes, that means something's completely off. And that's me reacting, not in a way that kind of like, yeah, just me reacting instead of responding. So the feeling of discomfort kind of like allows you to kind of you see the current situation differently, and then you kind of like could see what decisions are to be made and which option you would want to choose based on what's the result that you would like out of it. But ultimately, safety is the key because you feeling discomfort means the environment itself is not really like supporting you finding a way out within your current comfort level. Again, let's go back to a lecture and somebody's kind of like lecturing. If somebody's lecturing you in your house, you're fully in control. You can tell them to fuck off or tell them to shut up or kind of change the subject in a way. But if you're at somebody's house and somebody's lecturing you, suddenly you don't really have that, like, your comfort in the space is a lot less, is a lot more limited. So that basically is the response, I guess, is I'm not safe here because things are going against my will or I don't like what's going on. And that response is the safety. That's why like discomfort actually fits perfectly as a feeling because they touched on the safety that you had already. Like, again, it's a figment of my imagination because I went there and I'm acting a certain kind of way, or I'm allowing people to act a certain kind of way because of my comfort level. And so maybe I overestimated my comfort there. It's funny, no, it's still the same because even when I kind of like stop saying anything in order not to, for people not to kind of like react to me, because of that space is also their comfort. So they would always kind of like impose, even when you draw lines. I think family is an extreme because like they're on that side of the spectrum. But when it comes to people, the word safe here, that means I have to see through myself why I felt like even when things are away from discomfort, I was not really like confident or I didn't trust that I can still maintain my own safety, right? That I still can't kind of like get out of it unscratched, or maybe at the very least, like, if it's a scratch, I'm talking metaphorically. Like I'm not in charge of myself. That's why safety here, basically. You're no longer the person dictating what's going to happen next. Safety. It's a video. Yeah, well, I love you guys.